sounds.
Cheers! Welcome to Almost Rich, Almost Famous with Bets and Bridge. I surprisingly have so much energy today. I don't know why, because I'm hungover from all the tequila that I consumed.
Like, not even just yesterday. I feel like the only thing we do in life is consume tequila and eat french fries.
I know, and I don't ever get sick of it, and then I wake up and I don't feel that great, but I'm already ready for more tequila. It doesn't even make sense. And we've figured out that it's definitely our favorite activity, so much so that we did a tequila tasting with Avo Modern Mexican and Indie Esports, which is coming soon to East 4th Street, by the way, if you're from Cleveland, Ohio.
Which I'm so excited about. We, need a new spot over there.
I know, it's going to have a rooftop.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect.
It's going to be amazing. So we tried all these different tequilas with the owner, Gabe. It was so much fun. We had Rob Lorenzo, our favorite videographer and content creator, come and join us. So we have it all on film. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you follow us on Instagram, almostrich_almostfamous. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Almost Rich, Almost Famous. And on Twitter, ARAF_TLOD, to figure out what tequila is our favorite.
All right, so I was thinking that, I always wanted a reality show. I always thought it was such a good idea. We could be followed around all the time.
Yeah.
It could be so much fun. And then during this tequila tasting, I was thinking to myself, as I was getting drunker and drunker and drunker, and I had a camera pointed at my face, and I was still getting drunker and drunker, and it captured every moment of us just being like a total mess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd actually really like that.
I don't know. I still really like the idea of a camera being in my face all the time.
Oh my God, but they capture everything.
I know. And then I look back, I'm like, wow, is that really what I look like? Because I'm not that pretty.
And when you said that, I said, of course not. No, you don't look like that. I don't look like that.
Yeah, we're actually way prettier than that.
We're way prettier in real life.
Totally. But
not photogenic.
I'm not that pretty when the more tequila I drink, because my eyes start to get a little foggy. Yeah. I get my face gets a little oily. And guess what? It's all on camera. So you guys can go see it.
I truly believe that, since I've known you, my life in general has just gotten a lot blurrier.
What, you're blaming me for the tequila that we consume? Actually, not just tequila, every alcohol.
I'm blaming you for, asking me at, 11 o'clock on Thursday, hey, do you want to go to yours truly and get a margarita? It's not even we're going to get breakfast. It's let's go get a chocolate martini at 10:30. And then I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
And when she says 10:30 and 11, we're talking about the morning, you guys.
A.M.
And guess what? You never say, no, Bridget, that's inappropriate. You're always like, okay, yeah, it sounds good, let's go.
Because I have a problem, and so do you.
I know.
And we have both contributed to making each other's problems worse.
I know. So this is the thing. So the first thing I do after a night of drinking a lot of tequila, my first thought when I wake up is, what happened last night?
Worst.
And then I'm like, where's the water? Where's the Aleve? And then I'm like, oh God, let me look at my phone. Did I send any weird text? Did I send any weird DMs?
Yes, you did. Every time.
Every time. I always do. So do you. Don't just act like it's just me over here.
I really do hate to look at my phone the next day. I told you this before. I check my lashes to make sure they're still intact.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, my phone.
What did I do?
What did I do?
Okay, so today...
What did Bridget fucking make me do?
I don't know what you're doing on this podcast right now. You're trying to act like I'm the bad influence. I'm the one texting you to get margaritas at 11 a.m.
Yes.
I'm the one telling you to text and DM people.
Listen,
it's actually the complete opposite.
It's interchangeable. I feel like it's interchangeable. I do actually a lot of times put on you oh, you should totally DM that.
Yes, you are definitely the instigator when it comes to sending the DMs and the texts.
Okay, fine. I'm the instigator about sending the DMs and the texts, but you are the instigator about drinking.
I agree.
Okay, so I'll take that, but you have to take that.
Okay, I will. I will take that. Okay, so I'm a bad influence when it comes to drinking.
Okay, so what? What did you do last night?
So today, I look at my phone, and the last text I sent was to our boss, Sam Pines. And I'm like,
ooh.
Well, that's weird. Why would I be texting Sam Pines at 10:45 at night?
I just want to warn Deborah, if she's listening, this isn't bad, just so
Yes.
you know. Because I know you're probably thinking, what a fucking weirdo she is, texting my man late at night.
No, so I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm like, did Sam text me? Was it something about work and I felt the need to respond at 10:45? No, it's a screenshot of a conversation I had with someone else. And I said, well, I'm just going to tell you guys. It was Kenny Lofton. And I screenshotted my conversation with Kenny Lofton and said, from Kenny Lofton. And Sam replied, okay. And I'm like, well, and it wasn't bad. My conversation with Kenny was about our podcast.
Right.
So it's a normal conversation. It's fine that Sam saw it, but I'm like, why would I send that to him? I'm like, oh, and I read me and our conversation, you,
Yeah.
Betsy, and my conversation, and I just didn't answer your question. I think I was answering your question by sending you Kenny's response, but I sent it to our boss for whatever reason. Like, what? He's probably thinking, like, what is wrong with Bridget? Why is she texting me conversations between her and Kenny Lofton about her podcast that I had nothing to do with?
He probably is very confused. And when his phone did a little ding at 11 p.m., he was probably like, what the fuck is this bitch texting me for?
He's probably like, she better be, like, in trouble if she's calling me, or, like...
Did he respond at that late hour?
Yes,
no?
he did. He said, okay.
Oh.
He's probably like, what, huh?
But that's, like, not that bad.
I
Like,
know, but it could have been a lot worse. Like, what if I was sending, like, an inappropriate conversation that I was having with someone else, and I sent that to
well,
Sam?
you know, that actually makes me very nervous. Like,
I
this
know.
is going to go off in a whole different direction, because there is something, and I know you feel like I'm attacking you today, but I have to put this out there. I have to. There is something that occurs on your phone that makes me want to jump off a fucking bridge. When I send you a message, and it is typically, I'm sending you, like, very undercover shit that should be discreet.
Yeah.
It pops all up on your phone. Betsy Poulier is sending you a message that says, like, oh my God, I fucking hate so-and-so. I want to kill so-and-so. And you're literally sitting there with so-and-so because... And they can look at your phone and see that I'm texting you that. And I don't like it. I don't like that it appears on your phone.
I know, and you told me about that, and I've tried to change it, and I just don't know how. Listen, my phone is, like, from, like, dinosaur years. I need to go just get a new phone in general. But I know, I'm sorry about that.
You understand how that can put me, like, in a very compromising position when I am sending you information that I don't want people to see, and your phone is just out there, and then it pops up. Like, oh, so-and-so just messaged me.
I know. I don't even know what to say right now. I feel like I'm a little kid and you're my parent.
All right, well,
like,
great. So
yelling at
let's,
me.
okay, so can we just get a new
Sorry,
phone?
I don't want you to be disappointed in me anymore. Okay.
All right, let's get back on track.
Back on track.
I had to put that out there. Okay,
Okay,
so you didn't do anything crazy last night.
No, okay, no, well, yes I did. Of course I did. But I will, the main thing was the text to Sam that really, like, really woke me up today. Like, heart drops to stomach, like, wow, what did I say?
God.
And then it got me thinking, like, oh, that wasn't bad. So, phew, okay, good to go. But then I'm, like, thinking about all the times that it was probably not the best text to be sending someone, but I did. So I hope that I'm not the only one that's going to air this out today.
Oh, shit.
What is the worst text that you've ever sent to the wrong person?
You know, it's a really tough question. I've done
done
it
it a lot.
I've done it a bunch of times.
Oh.
But I think the main one is from a long time ago. It was when Sunny and I first started talking. I had just gotten home. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I slept with him on the first night.
Sunny?
Yeah, it's fine. We're
It's
still together
fine.
100 years later. It's fine. It's fine. So all those people that tell you, like, if you sleep with somebody on the first night, they're not going to like you, it's, like, bullshit.
Well, actually, you, like, lied to me this whole time then. Because Sunny has always said that. Like, yeah, we went home together the first night. And you're like, Sunny, no, we didn't. It was, like, a couple weeks after. Literally,
Right.
I've known you for 4 years now. And you've literally always said, no, Sunny's lying. So now you finally come clean.
Right,
What else
so-
are you lying about?
right.
Jeez. God. Liar, liar.
Anyway, so I slept with the guy on the first date. It wasn't a date. I saw him at the club, and then I went home with him. Anyway, so that next day, I got home, and one of my girlfriends had messaged me, like, oh, how was it? And I gave her all the details.
No, you didn't.
Oh, everyone.
Like,
Everyone.
like everything
Just-
down to, like, his dick, everything?
Everything.
Oh! Okay.
And I didn't send it to her. I sent it to him.
Oh. Well, at least, I'm assuming you're talking very positively since 15 years later you're still with them.
Yeah, I mean, but there were things that I should not have been saying.
Okay, did you, like, call him, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm, like, didn't mean to send it to you clearly?
No, I just pretended like it never happened.
Well, what did he say back?
Well, Sonny's like if something makes him uncomfortable, he's not going to bring it up. So we just, like, went on like it never happened. We've still never talked about it. So I hope he listens to this.
Wait, so he never even responded to your text
No.
describing your night together?
No,
No, he didn't.
I swear.
So then what? Did you start a new
so
conversation?
So nothing. And then I probably just said, like, oh, are you going out tonight? And then, we got drunk again. And, like,
Hooked
that
up
text
again?
happened. Yeah, so whatever. So that was probably mine.
My gosh.
Okay,
Well, obviously, I know, okay, that was bad, but obviously not that bad considering you are still together. And he, like, still talked to you again afterwards.
Right. I mean, he knew I was a raging lunatic, so it didn't totally matter. Like, he had already known that before he, like, slept with me. So, okay, so let's get to yours.
Oh.
Because, okay, so there are a few stories that, like, are my favorite stories of yours. This one is probably number one. It is my ultimate favorite story that you have. I know, I'm so excited.
Every time I get like cringy again thinking about it because I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that.
It just makes me so happy though. I love it.
I know.
Okay,
so I'll give you the background.
Great.
So there is this guy. I used to work with him in Cleveland, so we're always around. But like he's a douchebag. That's the best way to describe him. Like thinks he's the shit, but he's not at all. But it's one of those things, me just being me, I want everyone to like me, so I was always nice to him. Everyone always bitched about him, like, oh God, we're going to call him George. Like, oh my God, George just thinks he's so cool. George just thinks this, and I'm like, I know, but whatever, I deal with him. So one day, I am working an Indians game. So I'm in Park Coast.
Yeah.
So I'm up on the screen, so obviously everyone sees me because I'm up on the scoreboard. So I get a text from George and says, hey, I'm at the game, I'm in so-and-so seats, like the athlete, like one of the athletes.
Like I'm in like a big player's suite.
Yes, and so that just describes the type of person he is. That's why people think he's a douchebag. He wanted to let me know, instead of saying, I'm in row H, seat 12, he wanted me to know, I'm in this player's seats.
Because I'm friends with this guy.
Yes,
like,
I'm so cool.
You're so fucking cool.
And I'm like, oh my God, and here he is, George being George again. He's so annoying.
Yeah.
So I text him back. I'm like, okay, great, I'll be there. And then I'm texting my friend, and I said, oh my God, after I go and see George, we talk, whatever, and he's telling me about how he's hanging out with all the players later, and he's doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so annoying. He's such a douchebag. So I text my friend, and I'm like, oh my God, just ran into douchebag George. And once again, he's sitting in, whatever seats. He thinks he's so cool, whatever. So I send it, and then all of a sudden, it kind of hit me. And I was like, wait a minute, that didn't look like the name. Sent it to George. Just ran into douchebag George. Sent that to George. Can you believe it?
Yes,
okay,
I can.
So do you know what I did?
I do know.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell everyone else. Instead of being like, oh my God, sorry, you just have the same name as someone else. Honestly, he has a very unique name, so I couldn't even do that. I just blocked him. Just blocked his number, blocked him on social media, and was like, you know what, I'm just going to never see him again, never talk to him again, and that was it. So I have no idea what his response was. I know nothing. And luckily, somehow, I did not run into him for a very long time. And then once I did, he was like, never fucking with you again. Like, wouldn't even look at me.
Well, you and I ran into George.
I know.
Together.
Oh.
We ran into George together. And I just want to confirm, George hates you.
Well, I would hate me too. If I received a text message that said, like, just ran into bitch Bridget, I would probably hate that person too.
I mean, I don't know. That actually wouldn't upset. Like, if somebody is like, oh, I just ran into this fucking bitch, Betsy, I'd be like, oh, I'm assuming you already thought I was a bitch. So, like, that's not that crazy. The problem is when you don't think you're actually a douchebag, but you are. Like, I'm sure it hurt his, like, ego to know that, like, you thought he was a douchebag.
And, like, obviously I was sending it to someone else knowing that they also think you're a douchebag.
God, isn't it the worst feeling? Like, you can almost, it's like a slow motion situation.
Yes.
You press send, and
There's
then all of us, like, there's, like, nothing you can do. You're like, fuck, and everything's in slow motion. You're like, oh no, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And you think to block, and I just think to never bring it up again. Like, I wonder what normal people do.
Because, honestly, when I sent it, I saw the 3 little bubbles, the dots. I saw him responding. So I was like, no, I can't see what he says. Block. And I just immediately did, so I have no idea what he had sent back. Yeah.
Oh.
I know that. And so now I'm thinking, I get
tough.
He hates me, but honestly, I think he's probably more embarrassed too.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
He probably just doesn't want to ever see me again, knowing that I talk about him, referring to him as douchebag.
Yeah, but, like, everyone else does too. But they just send it to the right people.
Oh my God.
I know, it's the worst. It's
definitely the worst one.
Feeling in the world.
Definitely the worst one for me.
So, when we're together, I feel like I'm always saying, like, since I admitted to it earlier, I always say, like, Bridget, you should DM so-and-so to try to get that person on the pod, and then you tell me the same thing, and so then we're, like, constantly DMing all these people when we're drunk. The good thing about Instagram is if we do it at night when we're drunk, we can unsend it.
First of all, I do want to preface this by, we always, like, we are almost rich, almost famous, but when we drink, like, we really have a lot of confidence, and we're like, oh, we are rich and famous, and of course, everyone wants to be on our podcast, and we just sit here and talk about how amazing our podcast is. Like, we're like the best, we're the best hosts ever. We're so funny. We're so pretty. Like, everyone should want to be on our podcast. We just get this weird confidence. We're like, yeah, we should, like, DM Michael Jordan. He probably wants to come on.
Oh, he definitely does. We
Like,
actually have never DM'd Michael Jordan, but I think it's probably time.
yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is the one that he's definitely going to respond to.
Yeah,
LeBron, we're just a couple kids from Akron. Come on down to your old
if
hometown.
You keep fucking saying that, he's never coming on the podcast.
Yes,
No, he's not. He hasn't come on, and you say it all the time, so maybe...
I haven't asked. I haven't DM'd him. Haven't DM'd him with the line, hey, LeBron, it's me, Bridge. I get it. We're just a couple kids from Akron. Got a podcast. Next time you're in the 330, do you want to come on? He would probably be like, oh, shit, she's so cool.
In the 330. Can you
AK Rowdy Northside Summit County? I don't know.
Somewhere. Get
I
lost.
think I can't believe I haven't done that yet. I'm doing that tonight when we drink more tequila. That's it's the time.
I actually
So we
don't
have
like that.
But we have like DM'd people, and a lot of times they do respond though.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh shit, like this is real. Then we wake up the next day like, wait a minute.
All right, so this is where there's the fork in the road.
Yeah.
So we send the message. So like say I send the message. All right, so I'm messaging Michael Jordan. Okay. And so I say, this is my approach.
Yes.
Okay. My approach is hand wave.
Yeah.
Just hi. Like, I don't know, because that could be anything, right? Like, whatever. What's your initial text?
I go like straight in. Like what I would say to LeBron. Hey LeBron, it's me, Bridget. We're just a couple kids from Akron. I've got a podcast. It's really great. This is what it is. Would you want to come on? Like I just go straight for the jugular. Like, hey, it's me. There's no small talk.
Mine is like slow and
no, but
calculated.
It is.
Like I like to get the feel. Like so I send like the hand wave, and then I'll maybe get a hand wave back, and then I'll be like, "Hey Mike, this is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Hey Mike, I heard you were in town. How long are you here?"
Yes.
And then depending on that response, like if I don't get a response, then I probably stop until the next time I drink, which is the next day.
Yeah.
But if I get a response and he says like till tomorrow, I'm like, great. Well, what's your plan while you're in town? And so like I keep
you have
doing
a conversation going.
Yeah,
yes.
I get the conversation going. I want the person to feel comfortable with me. Either way, both of our approaches suck because they end up thinking I want to sleep with them, and they end up thinking you're a corny bitch for saying things like, hey, it's Bridget from the 330. Like, we both suck. Like, we're not good at it.
Okay, I agree. But Betsy, I always tell you, I'm like, Betsy, you cannot just like keep making this small talk. It's in her mind, she's like, well, I want to like become friends with them first, and then once we're friends, they'll be like, oh, by the way, I have a podcast. I'm like, no, because you're teasing them, because most of the time they're dudes. I'm like, and they just think you're hot, and so they're like, oh, sweet, this hot girl is DMing me, and so they keep it going, and then it gets to the point where they end up being inappropriate, and you're like, well, now I feel weird asking him to be on my podcast. I'm like, well, I know, that's why you don't start with like, hey,
it literally happens every time.
Every time.
Like, every time.
Every time I'm like, stop doing the wave, just go for it. And you're like, well, no, I gotta like at least say like, how long are you here? And then, but it always just goes in that direction.
I know, it's like, all right, I get it. Like, I'm not great at it, okay? I'm not great at booking guests, but neither are you, all right?
Well,
we haven't had the most success. Ultimately, I think our guests are like fine, but we're the main show.
I agree.
So,
but we haven't actually asked someone in a long time. Well, COVID is the main reason we couldn't have anyone else on. But I will say, my success rate is a lot higher.
Yeah, it is.
Every guest we've had on, guess who's booked it? Me.
We've had like 2 guests on, motherfucker.
And guess who booked them both? Me. Because you know why? My DM was, hey, hope all is well. I've got a podcast. This is it. Would you like to come on? Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
And then they do.
But how many other times have you done that and got no response?
I don't know, actually. So we're just going to let it go. I'm just saying my approach is better.
Okay,
I agree.
I get it.
We need to find like somewhere in the middle of the road, though.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right,
like,
so let's start new later today.
Sounds.
So going back to this whole unsend feature on Instagram, see all these dudes that you DM and you think you're being like friendly, like, oh, we're gonna become friends and I'm gonna ask you on my podcast, and they're like, oh, this hot girl is messaging me,
right.
I can't wait to sleep with her. Mm-hmm. They have gotten smart and have figured out a feature because they say inappropriate things and you're like not interested. They just unsend their messages so that you can never call them out to say like, hey, remember you sent me this inappropriate thing? Because you're also stupid and you don't screenshot things. So I don't know.
I would say that like There are a couple things that you've taught me in life. One of them is like about like pageantry and I don't know, something else I'm sure along the way. But like the main thing that you always reiterate is you're like, Betsy, you need to screenshot those things. And I'm like, Bridget, like I'm never actually gonna do anything with the stupid fucking screenshot.
You just never know.
You never know. Case in point, you got a real good one.
So, going back to tequila tastings and drinking a lot of tequila. So, first thing I wake up today, I texted my boss. Okay, weird. We're already weird.
You're
okay.
very weird.
No, now let's open Instagram. And I see the last name in there. And I'm like, okay, what was going on there? Well, I don't know. Because when I went to go see the conversation, it's just all me. He unsent every single message that he sent, which obviously he was sending me things that he didn't feel was right and that he did not want other people knowing.
Correct.
So he unsent them all. So it looks like I'm having a conversation with myself.
So did you screenshot? Did you follow your rule?
I'm no rookie over here. Yes.
So even when you're like drunk, like at the bar, being like weird, you're like, well, I'm gonna screenshot this shit.
Yes. So, well, I didn't know. So I see it and I'm like, damn it. He unsent everything. Now I don't know what even the conversation was about because I had a message from him. Clearly I fell asleep, but his message didn't make sense because I'm like, well, I don't know what was said before. So what does this message mean? And he unsent it. So I go into my photos. I've got like 100 screenshots. I'm like, God, see, Bridge, you're the real MVP.
You're a psycho.
I know everything now.
Okay, but like, what are this? Like, I would screenshot like if somebody sent me, which doesn't happen, but if somebody sent me like a dick pic, I'd screenshot it. Like I want that for later. You know, I want that
like for later to like view again or like
I don't know, like for whatever I want it for.
Okay,
or like to show you and be like, this motherfucker, could you believe it? Like what?
Yeah.
But then I'll send you a dick pic and it'll come up right on your goddamn phone.
True.
Because you can't figure out how to work your fucking phone.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Well, but for me, I don't know because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't think I was being weird in my messages to him. Like, why did I feel the need to screenshot? One, it could have been just I'm drunk right now. I need to remember this tomorrow, and I know this unsend feature on Instagram, or they are sending things that are inappropriate, which I'm reading this conversation. I'm like, it's very drawing the line. But you know me, I'm such like a prude and innocent. He was like trying to get me to say things, but I was never going to say them because I'm so weird and like don't know how to flirt with boys. But he was really trying, and I'm like, and he probably felt uncomfortable this morning reading all the things he was sending me. And I'm like, well, listen, guy, I've got it all on my phone. Screenshots live forever. You can unsend all you want.
Well, what are you going to do with those screenshots?
I know.
No, that's like, I'm just asking you for real. Like, I'd like to know. Because you have a lot of screenshots from a lot of different people.
I know.
Married people, prominent figures, athletes, a whole bunch of people. You got all these screenshots, this whole crazy library full.
Yeah.
And now what?
And now I always wonder why my storage is always full. Duh.
You sit there like a psycho screenshot every message anyone has ever sent you.
Well, because I just want them to know. Like,
well, they don't know because you haven't fucking told them.
Well, I'm airing it out now. I'm sure they're listening.
No, they're not.
Betsy, why would you say that? Yes, they are. We have a lot of fans.
Well, now they're not going to ever send you anything again, which really screws us. That's what are we going to talk about on this podcast?
I know. That's actually true. But I'm actually never going to do anything with them besides show you and just remember from my own memory.
Yeah.
Because some people, like, there are actual women out there, not just women, like men, too. They do that to, like, make them look stupid. Like, they'll tweet out screenshots or post it on their Instagram story, like, FYI, and, like, tag the significant other of the person, like, FYI, get your man. They're DMing me. Like, I would never in a million years ever do that. I could ruin so many people's lives. I would never, ever do it.
Has there ever been one that you, like, have wanted to do that to?
I'm trying to think of a good one. No, I mean, not that someone's coming to mind at all, so I guess not.
Yeah. So I was reading a story recently. You know Amber Rose, who initially came up because she was dating Kanye West. So she was dating Kanye West,
Really?
and then she had a kid with Wiz Khalifa, and then she's, like, kind of all over the place. There were definitely other people in there. And now she's with this other guy. His name's A.E. I have no idea what he
famous
is.
or not?
I don't know. Like, I guess. I don't know. They, like, look alike. It's very weird. They both have their kids' names tattooed on their forehead. I have no idea. Anyway, so it came out the other day that she went through his phone and she saw there were a bunch of different girls he was messaging, which, whatever. I don't know. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so she goes on her Instagram and she puts all the shit out there. Like, fuck this motherfucker. He's been talking to all these girls. I'm never going to tell you who these girls are, but, like, you would know them. She literally was, like, basically threatening to call out every one of these women.
Whoa.
I know.
See,
that's like really airing out somebody's shit.
And I would never even go to that length. Like, hey, FYI, I have this, so you better do this, or else I'm gonna put it all out there. Like, I don't even do that. Like, I'm just so like nice and innocent and weird. Like, I'm like, well, I got them all here. I'm never gonna do anything with them, but maybe one day those are gonna come in handy.
That's how we're gonna get. If we need a new approach to booking guests, that's fucking it.
That's it. So you can still do your whole weird friendly approach.
Yeah.
And then when they like try to sleep with you, you're like, well, no, but also I have all these screenshotted, so you better fucking come on my podcast, or I'm airing it all out there.
Listen, that'll make for a very dicey situation in this little studio if they're
would you ever
being
actually do it?
extorted to come on our podcast.
Would you ever actually do it? Like, would you threaten them?
I mean, it depends. Like, if I...
I'm thinking of one specific one that was a shocking person that you would never, ever think would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
Sent you a very inappropriate message, and Betsy tells me, I said, screenshot that shit. She's like, well, why? And I'm like, first of all, because he can unsend. Number two, we can use this as bait to come on the podcast. And she's not done either of them.
Yeah.
I'm like...
Because I actually, like, don't care about that person that much. Like, I, like, don't think they're actually that good. If it was, like... I don't know, like Chris Brown. Yeah. Maybe I would go the extortion route with Chris Brown. Because, like, yes, I want him here. But, like, all these people, I'm like, I don't know. Like, you're not even really that entertaining. Like, no one cares about you. I certainly don't care about you. So.
I mean, I could use it to my last night's guy that unsent everything. I could do it and say, hey, FYI, I noticed that you unsent everything, but I have all the screenshots. So if you don't want me to air these out to the public, maybe you should come on my podcast.
Did you end up asking the guy if he, from
God.
I think this is the best part of the whole story. Let's get back to that quick.
Okay, so I'm telling Betsy about all this. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't, at the time I forgot that I had screenshots. So I'm like, I don't know what he's asking me because none of the messages are there. Mm-hmm. So it's like his response, but I don't know what I said that would make him say what he said. We'll just call him out and say, hey, sorry, I was drinking tequila last night. I don't know what you asked. I went to go scroll up to read it, but I noticed our whole conversation is gone. Why'd you do that? And I'm like, no, I can't do it. And then I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right.
I'm single.
Right.
You're the one sending the thing. So
totally.
I did.
Okay, so what did you say?
I'll just read it.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's read.
Yeah. So let's read the DM. This is fun.
Okay. I actually think it's fun too. You know what I want to do? One time, maybe on this podcast, why don't we just like close our eyes and scroll up and just click one and read the conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
That'll be so good. So my response to his message, I said, I'll be honest, I was drinking tequila last night. I don't quite remember what the question was, and now it's no longer there. Why do you do that?
Oh, you get to the response. Oh, it's so good. So
his
good.
response, LOL, I don't mean to do it. My IG is super buggy. So Instagram just somehow unsends all your messages but keeps mine.
It's so interesting how that happens.
So weird that only your messages, not mine. Dickhead, I got all the screenshots. I should send them all the screenshots. Well, thankfully I screenshot it, so now I know what you asked.
Can you do that right now? Like, can we do like a live? Can we do like a live version of this?
I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for it. I say all this shit that I'm going to do, but I'm never actually going to do it.
You should act. I would never love anyone more than if you literally just sent all the screenshots and literally said, well, luckily I screenshot everything you said, so I now know the answer to the question. Just do it. I know. We'll get there. Maybe tonight.
Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll threaten them for the podcast. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if he's like good enough for the podcast.
I feel like I would definitely extort somebody for money. But I've never been.
No, she cares more about money than she does our podcast.
Well, no, I'm just thinking I'm thinking if I was a really down and out, I guess before I became like a stripper or like a prostitute, I suppose that I would just be like, hey, remember when you sent me all this? Like, can you also send me some money? And if not,
you can never say like, hey, remember when you sent me all this and have proof because you don't screenshot because you're just silly. You need to get your act together and start screenshotting.
All right, so maybe we should wrap this shit up so I can go through my
all
Instagram right now and just start screenshotting the shit out of everything.
They probably already unsent, but you can
not
try
everyone's as smart as this guy that you're dealing with.
That's true. Well, also, not a lot of people are as smart as me. I can outsmart the smart.
Oh, yeah.
You think you know what you're doing by unsending? Already one step ahead of you.
Gotcha.
Even when I'm drunk off tequila, I'm still smarter than you.
Oh.
So anyway, stay tuned. Maybe we'll be airing out some people here soon for the podcast.
No, we're not. That's what she says, trying to keep you guys around, but she's never going to do it.
That's true. I never will. We're always going to have nicknames. George is not named George, but that's what we're going to call him. Anyways, time to go drink some more tequila. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sounds.